Hi, everyone, and welcome to this mini lesson, mini course, if you will, on making money with your podcast, right? Everyone wants to start a podcast. They want to spread the word, kind of share their story, but obviously we want to make it profitable. So I'm going to go over all the different options in the ways of how you can make money for your show. And of course, it's not only limited to this, but this is like the general way of which you can make money. So option one is digital products. So it's probably the most popular option right now. It feels a lot more natural, right? Because it's coming from you. The other benefit is that there's little overhead, meaning, you're not, selling a physical product. You don't have a brick and mortar store. Really, you just create it from thin air on your computer and resell it. So digital products can include ebooks, downloadables, courses, subscription services, one-on-one consulting, maybe group coaching, anything like that kind of falls into the digital product realm. So an example of this is kind of, if you're a yoga instructor, maybe you have a podcast that's specifically about health, holistic health, whatever it is, spiritual satisfaction, whatever, you could possibly sell a monthly membership to be part of a community of like-minded individuals, maybe offer things like yoga classes, you have a Facebook group, right? You have different courses, exclusive discounts, book clubs, I don't know, right? The sky's the limit. So in terms of a digital product, you could have an ebook guide on how to begin your yoga practice, maybe a course on how to find your purpose through daily yoga practice, right? Again, these are just examples, but the sky's the limit with digital products. It really is only limited by you yourself of what you create, how you market, and kind of everything pertaining to that. It's not really a physical limit. Option two, which is probably the most well-known from podcasting, is sponsorships and ads. So a lot of major podcast hosting platforms will make this an in-house offer at no additional cost to you. They'll just kind of connect you with certain providers or brands that are looking to get advertising space. And of course, there are other ways of getting advertisers or sponsors through direct messaging, as well as some platforms or services will be available. So for example, there's an agency that I know of that will specifically be the person to vet out podcasts as well as vet out brands and kind of be the connector between the two, like matchmaking, if you will. So again, if you go through the host perspective, you can choose from a list of sponsors. They'll provide you with a script to read during the podcast recording, or it could be an automated thing where they kind of just, do it themselves and it's just pre-plugged in wherever you choose. So you will get paid either a set amount or per number of downloads or listens, depending on if you're a sponsor or an ad. They're different. They're not the same. You can, like I said before, you can also pitch on your own. It's not as easy, but you'll likely get more money. And I'll explain in a second kind of how I frame or put together my sponsorships deals, because they're a little bit different from what people traditionally do. So I want to just give a couple of disclaimers for these, because obviously it seems nice to have sponsors and ads, but there are just things you need to be aware of. So I, especially as a new podcast, person who's releasing a podcast, you're new to this, you're not well established, I would caution against using ads. And the reason why is because not only does it require a lot of downloads to start making serious money, I think on average from an ad perspective, again, this is different from sponsorships, from advertising, it's like, $25 per 1,000 downloads, which for someone like me who's well established, even that is a far stretch. I get about 1,500 to 2,000 downloads per week. So I'm averaging about anywhere from 500 to 700 per episode. Obviously it varies over time, but during that week period, that's kind of where I land. And still, even for me, I'd be making no money with it. Another thing too with ads is that a lot of listeners are turned off by them. So think about yourself as a consumer. How fucking annoyed are you when you get on Hulu and there are ads, or when you're in the car and there are commercials? No one likes fucking ads. They're there for a reason, right? They're there to market. They're there to create money or whatever it is, keep you on that platform. But really, it's not something that we are actively enjoying or looking for. So I want you to caution against it, because if you're a new show, it might turn people off from actually continuing to stay, become a listener and a follower. So another thing too is you may come off as salesy or inauthentic for pushing a product, especially if it's not aligned. So if, again, we'll go back to the example of a holistic or yoga teacher. If you are running ads that are around, I don't know, real estate, cool, but not really fucking relevant, your loyal followers will be fucking annoyed. They're already going to be annoyed with ads, but the fact that it's not relevant is bad. So the best question to ask yourself is, what would your ideal listener want? Do they want to be pitched ads? Do they want to be sold products? And maybe the answer is yes, right? Because I know from my perspective, sometimes I want to know the shortcuts, right? I want to know those products. And that's why I partner with certain brands, but I'm very, very specific on who it is that I work with. So that's ads. Now I want to get into sponsorship. So unless you have an existing following to leverage, obtaining sponsorship could be really, really challenging in the beginning. And again, that's not to say it's not possible. It definitely is. But in terms of making serious money, like how I do omni-channel marketing, which I'll get into in a second. But for those of you who are listening and watching this right now, I've linked a couple of different articles, and this one's actually a podcast about how to get sponsors. It really, really lays it out very clearly on like the steps you can take, where you can reach out to certain brands, what agencies utilize, all of that stuff. So definitely go check them out. After you finish this video, pause it, download it, and do some research. I also will put in media kit examples so you can kind of see it as an example of what I use and what other people use when they grow a following, and they kind of use, it's like a screenshot essentially of all your networking or leveraging capabilities, but it's a great tool to have, especially if you're a large following. So brand deals. So again, this kind of falls in line with sponsorships. I've been doing a couple of those now. So when you've obtained a following via social media, have at least 1,000 followers, right? That puts you in the kind of the space of being a micro influencer. You can create package deals for brands. And the reason why this works really well as opposed to just one sponsorship is not only do you get to charge more money, but again, omni-channel, meaning multiple avenues of marketing for brands, right? They want to reach the most amount of people. And so, when you think about how people use platforms, right? Instagram, Facebook, listening to podcasts, like someone might be obsessed with Instagram, but not with Facebook. Someone might be obsessed with Facebook, but they're not on TikTok. Someone might be on TikTok, but they don't listen to podcasts. So the fact that there are different people on different platforms, even if they're in the same demographics, it's again, one of the tools that you can leverage when you pitch brands is saying, hey, I will touch all these different avenues for an additional fee. Maybe I'll give you a discount, but this is what's going on. So this is how I structure my brand deals. So I will, because my following is largely through TikTok and I have a pretty large subscriber base for my podcast, I'll say I'll do a TikTok video for you, right? A 60-second video. I'll repurpose that to Instagram Reels and Pinterest Idea Pins, right? 2 different platforms, 2 different follower bases in addition to TikTok. And I'll also do a podcast sponsorship slot, meaning they get to choose the episode of their choice. They get to see what guests I'm having on, the topics, if they're relevant, and kind of get to choose where they're going to be slotted. So all that together is really, really enticing for brands, again, because omni-channel marketing, right? We're hitting multiple different avenues. And that's not to say that people always go for this. Some people just want the TikTok video and they're fine with that. But again, you want to get the most bang for your buck and you want to provide value for them, right? This is an exchange. So that's just something to keep in mind. So for pricing, it'll vary across platform, industry, experience, personal capital, right? Your network, all that stuff. But usually what I've heard across the board is the 4% rule, meaning you want to charge 4%, the amount of your followers. So for example, if you have 20,000 followers, on whatever platform it is, that roughly translates to about $800. Now, again, this is not the only rule because as you can see below, there's another structure that I found from a branding specific agent. Like they connect, influencers with brands and they're a matchmaker of that type of form. And this is what they provided for me. So this one is for followers, number of followers, and whether you do an Instagram story, do a photo, a carousel, or a video. So again, this is mostly around Instagram, but the video portion, I guess, could fall in line with TikTok. But even with this, like the pricing is it's not terrible, but it's also pretty low. Like for TikTok, I can get about $1,000 for a video. And that was for about 20-something thousand followers. And then, as you can see for here, the pricing for a video is much, much lower. So again, just keep in mind, throw some numbers out there. You're going to feel weird at first, especially because you're like, well, this is only a 30-second video. But just think for a second, you're doing them a huge favor because not only is your market super niched and tailored, but think about how much money they would spend if they were paying for advertising on TV. Like millions of fucking dollars. No one watches ads anymore. People barely watch cable TV. So it's really kind of a crapshoot. So this is a perfect way for brands to leverage people who are like actually, doing the damn thing, right? They have a loyal follower base that's very fucking specific. So it's perfect for them. So you are actually doing them a service. Do not feel guilty for charging what you're worth. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. I'm not an expert, but I can kind of get you started just like I did. Okay, third option is affiliate marketing. So the beauty of affiliate marketing is that it's pretty much passive. It does require some work, but like it's not too bad. The easiest way to get your toes wet is with Amazon affiliates. So I link all the stuff that I use, kind of in my freebies and my courses and all this stuff. And even I send it to friends. It doesn't cost anything to start, which is great. And I already am advocating for these products for free. So I might as well get like a couple bucks out of it. I plan on using affiliate marketing for books that guests recommend, products that I use, right? Microphones, ring lights, anything pertaining to online business, right? Organizational stuff, like literally fucking anything. Calendly, Zoom, like any product I use from head to toe in my business, in the physical world, personally, like I'm advocating for it. So the only thing to say with affiliate marketing is, one, don't expect to get rich from it immediately. It takes some time. And also the other thing is, if your affiliate link is for like a $50 item, you may get 50 cents. Like it's not that huge of an amount, but again, it could add up if you have a large follower base or you have a lot of people who are clicking it. The other thing too, for a disclaimer, is just, I really don't want you guys to advertise bullshit. Like do not, again, I said this before, but do not get behind a brand, sell a product, advocate for something that you do not believe in, right? It's garbage and you don't like it, or it's not who you are, or whatever it is, or it's not aligned with your brand, because you will turn the people off who are really dedicated to like actually working with you and liking you and listening to you by doing that. So don't be that person. Okay, so an example of this, which I just kind of mentioned a couple things, but let's say like you're a boss babe, right? You're a businesswoman. Your podcast or topic is like you love talking about all things pertaining to business, right? You provide them with the shortcuts, all that stuff. You could sell or, through affiliate marketing, do Amazon products that help with productivity, office must-haves, and just everything encompassing being a boss-ass bitch, right? An example is there's a woman that I found on TikTok probably like 2 years ago. Her name's Teresa Caruso. I'm obsessed with her. Her videos are great, but she has these idealists on Amazon that are just amazing. So what she does, this is just a couple examples, but she just puts things per category that pertain to her lifestyle brand as well as her aesthetic. Like as you can see, it's like rose gold and pink and very chic and like modern, and she will categorize them, which is great. So like that's all she does on TikTok is affiliate marketing, and she reaches a lot of people through her videos. So again, that's another avenue you can go down as well, but just this is just an example, right? The sky's the limit. Option 4 for making money is connections. So the incredible thing with podcasting is you build amazing relationships and you open the floodgates of opportunities. So for example, these are just some of the things that I've gotten in the past. I've gotten way more at this point, but these are just some of them. So when I first started, right, because I had someone on my show, I got a remote as needed gig from that, which helped fuel my business in the beginning. I got a free photo shoot, which is great because I needed an updated headshot from my fucking horrendous one in corporate. I also got guests recommending me they're basically advocating for me to be on other shows or in other opportunities. And then the other thing too is podcast guests that I have turn into paid clients, right? People who are good at what they do hang out with people who are good at what they do. So typically every single guest that I have on my show, I have worked with in some capacity. Like I've had a lawyer on who's now become my lawyer. I've had coaches on who are now my coaches, and vice versa. They've hired me for podcast stuff. So it's just a mutually beneficial exchange all around, whether it's intentional or not. So don't dissuade the fact that podcasting is an amazing thing all around, even if you're not making straight up cash money from it right away, because it can lead to things down the line. Now, another thing too is, like I had mentioned, I got a gig from this, but you can actually use your connections to get gig work or just learn new products and processes to make your business better, which is more than what money could buy. So for example, like shortcuts, like of all the guests I've had on my show, I stay pretty close in contact with a lot of them, and we'll DM, right? I'll message them on the weekly or if not daily, to discuss certain things like, hey, who's your virtual assistant? Hey, I'm having a problem with this. Hey, why don't we like do a 30-minute call and talk about our problems and our goals and see if we can kind of like be the glue, right? Figure out solutions. And more often than not, like we end up making progress faster by working together than going solo, right? And we didn't even have to pay money in a mastermind to do that. We're just doing it ourselves. So again, don't underestimate the power of connections. It's definitely a real thing in the podcast world. So, definitely go for that. And then the last option, of course, there are many other options, but of the 5 that I'm listing here, the last one is bartering. So again, it's not necessarily cash money and neither are connections, but like imagine if you can exchange your services, products, or insights, with someone who has something you need. So for example, my Reiki teacher who's also a really good friend. He's not tech savvy at all. Like, he's not tech savvy at all. And he needs help creating a digital presence, right? Getting up on social and all that stuff. And so we basically made an arrangement where I wanted to get Reiki sessions, right? I want to work internally. I want to continually grow myself. So he's giving me Reiki in exchange for me helping him with his services, right? I give him a testimonial. He's giving me one. Like, it's a barter exchange, which is really, really great. So basically I'm saving $120, right? That's a great thing. You can do the same thing with everything else under the sun, from like web design to virtual assistant. I mean, I'm doing that right now with someone else too. She needs coaching and I need a virtual assistant. So we're doing an exchange, which is great. We both get taken care of. Another thing to consider when it comes to like just bartering and just getting, some sort of exchange, if you will, is to check out this woman, Susie Moore. There's a couple other people who do something similar, but she specifically talks about pitching media and getting free publicity kind of on the back end, right? Instead of going directly through like an info@abcnews.com, a generic email, you can find editors through like LinkedIn or kind of the backdoor ways to get in. So that's something to consider. It's not really in the way of bartering, but I think it could help you to kind of lead you in the direction you need to if you're struggling, or you need, again, that publicity. You want to grow your following, could lead to bartering down the line. But just, I hope this helps give you an overview of kind of like what you're getting yourself into, the ways in which you can make money. And again, this is your show. The sky's the limit on how you brand things, how you structure things, again, how much money you charge, when you charge it, and how you charge it. So, if you have any questions, suggestions, or you need, anything at all, please feel free to reach out, and I hope this was helpful.